At his apartment, Marty opened his laptop and scrolled through an online forum for cyclists. Tom looked over his shoulder. There it was, a picture of the orange Stillman, along with a security cam image of a guy in a baseball cap standing at a bank teller's window, pressing his palms together. "I need to buy a ticket home," Tom said.
Breaking news.
But Curry was leaving work at 5 p.m. when the phone rang. It was a special agent with the FBI's field office in Chicago. There was a warrant out for a man whose parents lived in Libertyville, right next door to Curry. "The Justices?" asked the police chief, stunned. The agent explained that the FBI had been searching for Thomas L. Justice in and around Chicago for 2 weeks. His last known address in Illinois was the Ravenswood apartment he'd shared with his girlfriend 2 years earlier. The police had also tried staking out his old apartment in Berkeley, but he was long gone. The agent wondered whether Curry had seen Tom lately, and also, did he happen to know what type of car he drove? Curry hadn't seen him in at least 6 months, but he seemed to remember Jay Justice's son drove an old Mercedes-Benz. The agent said that that is the car they were looking for. Then, before hanging up, he gave the police chief a heads up. FBI agents would be traveling to Libertyville the next day to question Mr. Justice. Curry headed to his car. His drive home took less than 10 minutes. When he rolled up, he was surprised. There, parked in the Justice's driveway, was the yellow Mercedes. As Curry scrambled for his phone, Tom and Jay sat in their kitchen finishing up dinner. The television was on, tuned to CNN. Tom's mom had cooked beef and green peppers. Now, she was puttering around, packing up the leftovers for Tom. "So, how's that job of yours?" Jay asked his son. It had been a week since Tom's trip to Tijuana, not that his parents were aware he'd left town. As far as they knew, he was working as a bike messenger. It didn't sound like much of a career path. Tom's dad, Jay, asked him what he planned for the future. Tom said that he was going to apply for some new graduate school programs. Tom grabbed his food and headed out of the door. He bid goodbye to his parents and climbed into his car. When the first police car appeared behind him on Butterfield Road, Tom didn't think much of it. Then, there were 3 more. After leading the procession for a mile, Tom glanced in his rearview mirror again. Red lights were now flashing. He pulled over and reached for his wallet. As he leaned toward the glove box to grab his registration, a voice boomed through a bullhorn. "Freeze! Let me see your fucking hands!" Slowly, Tom glanced back. 5 cops were aiming their guns at him. Getting on the ground, Tom asked why he was stopped. As the handcuffs tightened around his wrists, he felt a rush of emotion. He wanted to cry, not out of despair or fear, but out of a much heavier sense of something he wasn't expecting: relief. After 4 years, his self-destructive cross-country loop was finally coming to an end. Ever since he'd traveled to Colorado for the Olympic training camp, Tom kept thinking that his life should be momentous enough to carry him far away from Libertyville. In between his escapades to France and Mexico, he robbed 26 banks in 16 cities across 3 US states. Now, he was laying face down on the pavement back home, his hands bound behind him. In the interrogation room, an FBI agent placed a photograph on the table. It was a security cam shot of the choir boy. The orange Stillman had led them right to Tom. Had he been riding an average bicycle, Tom might never have gotten caught. The agent encouraged Tom to cooperate. Tom gave a full confession. Soon, he was fingerprinted, photographed, strip-searched, handed an orange jumpsuit, and booked at the Lewis Metropolitan Correctional Center, where his parents came to see him before his hearing. In a cramped visiting room that smelled like sweat and microwave popcorn, the justice asked his son the one question everyone is still asking 20 years later: why? "I don't know. It's just something I did," Tom replied. Tom's parents hired him a lawyer who rolled his eyes when Tom said he had already confessed. He was facing a sentence of up to 120 years. But, as his lawyer pointed out to the prosecutor, Tom never carried a weapon and he cooperated upon his arrest. Tom's confession helped the FBI sew together all the 26 heists, including several that weren't even in the choir boy file. In the end, Tom pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 11 years. In federal prison, he will spend hours walking the yards in circles, thinking back on his life, trying to make sense of everything. His 4-year spree hadn't netted extraordinary money, $129,338. But Tom's MO was so unusual that years later, even Officer Dexter back in Walnut Creek still felt an affinity for the bicycle bandit. "I have a certain respect for a smart crook," he says. The whole changing clothes thing, his MO was so good. After being released in 2011, Tom returned to cycling at the velodrome in Northbrook, where he still loves careening around the corners. He considered applying to grad school, but eventually found a job at a donut shop. Little do the cops know that the 48-year-old handling their chocolate glazed is one of the most prodigious bank robbers in American history. The notion that he wasn't some run-of-the-mill thief offers Tom a certain measure of satisfaction. Tom's former roommate, Marty, interprets his full confession as a statement of purpose. He's not just a bank robber, but a great bank robber. Even in bank robbery, he couldn't be ordinary. The day of his arrest, Tom sat handcuffed in the back seat of the FBI car en route from Libertyville to Chicago. One of the agents asked him what he did with all the money. Staring out through the window, Tom thought for a moment before replying. Nothing.